What's up, dude teachers? Jason Kennedy here. Post a video every single no-show. They're always heartfelt, humorous, and helpful. Ladies, you are always welcome to the party. My hope is that this post is probably my most helpful post to those of you that are considering teaching ESL online. The biggest question that comes up and that came up in my mind when I was looking at different companies to teach online was, who pays the most, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job and you want to know, I see all these advertisements for this company and that company and teach here and teach there, but how much money am I going to get in my bank account for spending that amount of time teaching online? And maybe I'm just pragmatic, but I'm like, hey, which one of you guys is going to pay the most for my 25 minutes of my time? And I'm going with you. Now, I understand there's a bunch of other factors. You don't need to leave those in the comments. I know. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to take a minute and compare 4 of the main ESL companies and what their pay structure kind of looks like. I made a spreadsheet that lines out the main factors that determine their pay, and it's actually below. Just click the link below and it'll pop up and you can look at that spreadsheet. I'll show it to you here in just a minute, and I'll kind of walk through it. But there's several factors that kind of make their pay what they are. And to be honest with you, if you don't know or if you're kind of new to this teaching ESL online thing, it's a little bit complicated because they try and incentivize you to do certain things, and different companies do it different ways. And so I basically compared 4 companies. I chose these 4 companies partly because they do actually usually pay the best. I haven't heard of other ones that pay any more, or most other companies I've seen pay less. And secondly, I'm very aware of how these companies operate. I either work for them, or my wife works for them, or one of our closest friends works for them. And so I kind of know how they work on the inside too, which is kind of helpful when trying to unpack how much you make. A couple things to take into consideration before we look at this chart. First is your base pay is probably the single most determinative factor of how much you can make with each company. So that being said, take extra time on your interview. Take extra time on practicing your demo class. Take extra time, because once your base pay gets set, all the little incentives add up and bump up from that base pay, but that base pay is very hard to move. Some companies will revisit it once you renew your contract, but pretty much you're stuck at that rate. So you want to absolutely knock your interview and your demo class out of the park. So I would encourage you, take extra time. If you need somebody to work through it with you, coach you, just shoot me a note. My email's below. I would love to help you out and get you through the process and get you the highest base pay as possible, because that's your starting point. You're going to make that no matter what. The second thing is this, is that booking rates matter. What that means is that if you hear of a company or multiple people talking about a company online that they're not really getting booked to teach at, that matters. Because you can make $50 an hour and still not get booked ever and make no money. So usually what I've seen over the past little while is companies kind of have booking influxes of people where a bunch of people kind of join and they do a big marketing campaign and a big push, and then they'll sort of wane and then they'll sort of pick it back up. And so just be aware, maybe to ask the question to people on a certain chat or a forum. You can ask me, I can kind of tell you what my personal booking rate is, what my wife's booking rate is on different platforms, and that'll at least give you an idea. Obviously, if you're a good teacher, you're going to get booked more, but the reality is some companies do actually have more clients than others. So make sure that you know what company you are applying for and if they actually have students. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip you around and I'm going to show you this little spreadsheet that I made that kind of compares the main 4, in my mind, companies, and also 4 companies that I'm basically intimately aware of how they operate their pay structure. And so the 4 are Gogokid, Magic Ears, Vipkid, and then Dada ABC. And they're in that order on the sheet. So if you look right here on the left, there they are, the different companies. Next to it's their potential base pay. They're all pretty much the same. You can get up to about $10 per class. Usually that's pretty difficult to do. You would need a teaching certificate, maybe a master's in teaching, taught for a long time, knock the interview out of the park, no TPR, like it's your first language. You're gonna have to do really well. Some on their interview, they'll ask you what you want to make. I say shoot for the moon. What do you have to lose? So there's your base pay column. The second one is what they call a teacher participation bonus. So most companies have a participation bonus, meaning basically if you complete a number of classes and do a good job, you show up on time, you do what you're supposed to do, they give you a little extra to incentivize you, just to be there, show up, make it happen. The next column is to make sure that they have teachers available during their peak times. So they incentivize you to open up your schedule, usually during peak times, and get bookings of classes. So that's kind of the main thing there on the classes book thing. Some companies offer what they call a short notice or a standby bonus. That's basically if you want to leave your schedule open kind of till the last minute, and if a student pops on there quickly or at the very end, you can actually make more money doing that. The next column is what they call a trial conversion bonus. So what that means is these new companies have new students coming in, and as the new students come in, they're trying out the platform. And it's your job as their representative to sell the platform to them. So that would mean you would do a really good job, you would teach their class really well, and that trial, after you do their trial class, they sign up. Most companies give you a bonus. They give you something as a thank you. The next column is a referral bonus. It's basically a single referral bonus. What that means is if you refer a friend, a family member, anybody, they sign up for this platform and they meet the requirements of that company, which is teach anywhere from 1 class to 40 classes or teach for a month or whatever, then you get a bonus for doing that. They like adding new good teachers and they reward you for that. The next option is they actually give you an extra bonus if you bring in a whole bunch of people. So I call it a scaled referral bonus. I don't know what they actually call it, but basically you bring in 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, however many people on any given basically 3-month period, they give you an extra bonus, which is really cool. So if you have a bunch of friends or family, that's something you should really take into consideration. Most of the companies have contests, usually monthly, sometimes every other month or whatever. Those contests matter. You can win those contests. They pay real money. That's something to kind of consider. Okay, so now then what I did after that is I kind of made up my own columns after that. So that's kind of the data that I've seen and I've come up with. If you're watching this and you work for one of those companies and I'm wrong, please tell me. I will change it really quick. I try to do my homework, but you always make mistakes. So the next columns are the columns that I made up myself, and basically what these are what I call the best case scenario. So this first column is you have the most incredible class of your life, you have the best credit score, you have all the best ratings, everything goes amazing, you have a trial student, you go in, you smash it out of the park, the trial student signs up, it's like, what can I potentially possibly ever make on the best day ever for one class? What's that going to be? So that's that column. The second column is basically what's a standard pay that I could get with my participation, with everything going well. Not necessarily a trial student signing up, but everything else goes well. But it's a short notice or a standby class, meaning it's kind of a class that happened kind of at the last minute. What can I make doing that? The next one is basically a standard 24-hour booking class. This is students book you a week out, you have a big schedule, which company will offer me the most money there? And the last one is on referrals, how can I make the most money referring people? So these are kind of my own columns. And then I kind of gave them a grade there at the very end. And the grade basically is just my own grade. I'd love to hear your grades or how you would grade these companies on the way that they pay, not necessarily on the way that they operate, because I know that those are two very different things. Okay, so awesome. Let me just kind of go through my thoughts. You can read this chart. You can tell me what you think about it. My thoughts are if you're looking at getting hired at a company, I would rate them in this order. I would say number 1 is probably Gogokid, number 2 is Vipkid, number 3 is Magic Ears, and number 4 is Dada ABC. That's how I would rank them. And here's why, for 2 factors. And they weigh differently depending on what's important to you. But to me, There's a potential to make a good base rate as long as you do what you need to do and you get to your 120 credit score, etc. with Gogokid, to make a really good base rate. On this sheet, I did it as if it were $9 an hour, but you can get up to a really good base rate on a 24-hour booking, and the referral money at Gogo is better than anybody else. So the 120 bucks per person is nice. On top of that, they have the scale bonus. So I put them at number 1. A close second to them was Vipkid. Vipkid does a really good job. They're a little bit less on the 24-hour base rate, but what they offer that Gogokid doesn't is that short standby classes, and they give you an incentive for that. So I'm all about that. I'm sitting here anyways. I might as well make a little extra money if a kid wants to jump on at the last second. So they're a close second. Their referrals are just as good. They're $100 for one referral. They also have the scaled referral bonuses too. You make just a slight bit less on the 24-hour bookings, but not a lot. So I put them at number 2. I put Magic Years at number 3, and the reason why I put Magic Years at number 3 was mainly because the referral bonus is so bad. They basically they'll give you $50 after the teacher teaches 40 classes, and then even then they only give you their scaled referral bonus is so little they bump it to 70. So if you have a bunch of friends and family that you're gonna add, I wouldn't add them to Magic Years. You're just not gonna make a lot of money on the referrals. And the last I put down as Dada. Dada's fine. They're actually a pretty good company. They just don't have a lot of the incentives that a lot of the other companies have, and that they don't really do a short standby bonus. Their participation bonus that they do is basically they give you these points, and you're supposed to be able to exchange those points for Amazon gift cards and things like that, but that never happens. So you just basically stack up all these points that you can never really use. So it would be nice to get paid a little bit more. The referral bonus is good, but at the end of the day, you want a pretty good base rate. So that's kind of how I would arrange them if it were me, and if I were signing up teaching right now, I would probably jump onto Gogokid and probably jump on a Vipkid if you can, and then after that do maybe Magic Years, and then if you have extra time, Dada, but I probably wouldn't do it if I were you. So anyways, that's my breakdown. That's kind of, I'm all about the idea of showing me the money. So if I were in your shoes and I were looking at signing up, man, show me the money. What's going to make my time the most valuable? Sign up for that platform. All right, that's all I got. I got to get back to teaching. See ya.